All right, welcome everybody to the Miami Hurricanes post-game show here on MarkRogersTV on the Miami channel. I was scheduled to start at 7:10, but I started it a little early. Brennan and Slim were actually at the game, so hope they had some fun with that after we got mauled by the Tigers 40-10. Hope they had some fun with Yeah, but I really don't even know what to say that much anymore. MDB hopped in here. Let me guess, it's all the players' fault and the staff hasn't failed to put a winning team on the field all year. I mean, it's not all the players' fault. I think there was a few plays where it wasn't the players, like the first touchdown to start the game, DJ Ivy. When you're near the goal line like that, and you know they're probably going to run a slant route, and they're going to want to hit the inside. I don't get why you're favoring the outside as if they're going to go deep. That just doesn't make any sense. I've been here all year, man. So, yeah. Also, if anyone wants to jump on, I'm going to drop the link in the chat. There we go. There's the link. Yeah, I mean, it was just a rough day all around from beginning to end. It was really weird for some reason. It looked like we didn't really come to play in the first half, and we finished a lot strong in the second half before Clemson got those 2 garbage time touchdowns. Defense didn't look good at all in the first half and really stepped it up near the end. Jakari had a rough day, went 6 of 13, 53 yards, threw a pick. Jay came in. There was the one throw. He threw the touchdown to Khalil Brantley, which I missed. I'd walked away for that. But he had a couple throws he missed too. Overall, it was just kind of the same stuff we've seen all year, where a lot of miscommunication on defense. When we're playing a team with a good running attack, we can't stop it. DJ Uyungale did whatever he wanted to do with the quarterback keepers, the inconsistency of the quarterback position, the inability to pick up short yardage. I don't know how many times we got in 3rd and short or 4th and short, and we were just unable to pick it up. This offensive line just had no push to it. The defensive line in the beginning of the game seemed to be getting absolutely no pressure on the quarterback. I mean, yeah, we looked good for a stretch. Workforce, we definitely looked like we had some momentum at a certain point there in the game, but I think too many drives stalled out and the defense was just out on the field for too long that it just collapsed, and they got those last 2 touchdowns. But there was a point there where we only held them to 2 points in the second half, and that was off the safety by Jakari, which for a second there I didn't think it looked like a safety. Once they showed that second angle, it was a safety. ESPN every time with that. How was I saying? Josh Gaddis calls plays like a cross-side. What? Okay. Yeah, exactly what I was saying. Those last 2 TDs were in garbage time. So the defense definitely looked better in the second half, but this has kind of been the theme for the past 15 years, where we come out really slow and we try to just claw our way back into these games, and we just sort of fall short, Like, really, we've only played 1 complete game all year, and that was last week against Georgia Tech, which, hey, I'll take it, but you know what it is to go over the course of a whole college football season not even being able to say you've played multiple complete games. I mean, it took some time in the second half. We had started going, but Brown, being young, couldn't see the field. I mean, yeah, I don't want to trash Jakari Brown. We know he's a freshman. We know he's going to make these freshman mistakes, and he had that a lot, especially that first missed throw to Restrepo. Yeah, I mean, at Maryland. What's the score on that? It's still 33-30, but it looks like Ohio State's going to win it. There's 47 seconds left and they have the ball, but hey, good for them. When are coaches going to be held responsible for this trash? I mean, I feel like the fan base has been pretty vocal with how much disdain they have for specifically Josh Gaddis, and I saw a lot of people calling for Kevin Steele today, which, I mean, you know what it is that on the opening drive, basically all their big plays and their touchdown came off of just slants. Like we've looked so unprepared against slant routes, which is just basic ABC football all year, and I don't understand that at all. And like I said, the touchdown on the opening drive that was on DJ Ivey. I don't know why he was favoring the outside so much when they're gonna probably try to hit the inside on a slant on the goal line. That's what you try to do on the goal line when you pass the ball. That missed throw too was huge. Yeah, it was huge. I remember watching that and I was just thinking there's a momentum play right there that just passed us by because, the defense gets cooked to start the game a little bit. And then now you have this shot play that you dialed up. Clemson blows a coverage. And when you're a team that's looking for an upset, you not only need to play a perfect game, but you need to hope that the superior team makes mistakes. And that's what that was. That was a mistake right there that we could have taken advantage of, and we just didn't. Because, Ja'Cory Brown just doesn't have his passing game down yet. And Delani brought this up. Brown isn't a passer even in high school. He's an option QB, but the tools are definitely there. He has a cannon of an arm. No one can deny that. But the problem is he's kind of in that phase where we even see it on a lot of short routes where he just says, I'm going to throw this as hard as I can right now, which when you're a QB, you need to learn when to use a touch pass. There's times where you throw a bullet, no doubt, but he just doesn't have that touch yet on his throws, which that can be taught. And he's a freshman, and you can't teach the cannon that he has. So if he gets that accuracy down and he becomes a better passer and you throw that in with his running ability, he'll be a very dangerous player in the future. Too many momentum plays got away from him. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There were so many times where we could have had a big pick. Specifically, there was a play over the middle where DJ Uyunglele threw a pass to the tight end and he sort of bobbled it. And Cam was right there and he could have snatched it straight from his hands, but it's all moving so fast. That could have been a momentum play. The shot to X. And there's a lot of plays that set us back, like on the first opening drive right after we missed the open pass to X. Ja'Cory scrambles, picks up a first down, and they call Jalen Knight in on that bullshit blindside block, which that's just football, man. I don't understand that call. I get we want to make the game safer, but what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to let your guy get tackled? We can't block anymore? I mean, that's ridiculous. He rifles everything instead of finessing. Yeah, exactly what I said. No doubt about it. I don't want to hear let Mario get his players. This team had talent and they looked unprepared all year. That's not the players. That's the coaching. Like I said, I think it's a little bit of both. I think Josh Gaddis at times just runs this very overly methodical offense that just isn't going to work right now with the personnel we have. But then again, that's the type of coach he is. If you look back to what he was doing at Michigan, very run-heavy, methodical offense. And I've also said this before, a lot of times when you don't have buy-in from the players from a past regime, and a lot of them are leaving, like we just saw Thad transferred out, Gilbert Fryerson's transferring out, then that can cause major issues in a locker room. And that can really hurt the locker room and the team, and it can affect the whole team's performance. But then we also have guys like Ja'Cory who's shown flashes. Cam Kinchins had another really nice game today. He forced a fumble, had a few tackles. So, yeah, it is going to take time, and I know you don't want to hear it, but Mario needs to get his players in. And it's only year one. I mean, we can't keep firing coaches and keep going around with this coaching carousel. It's just not going to work. We need a quarterback. I mean, we have Emory Williams coming in. 3-star. Some say he's underrated. We have to see how he performs at the Power 5 level here at Miami. Ja'Carri Brown still has some things to work on, as I mentioned, specifically with his accuracy and the touch on his passes. So, yeah. This rebuild is going to take 5 to 10 years. I mean, it's definitely going to take time. I don't think we win 10 games next season, and I don't think we're winning a national championship by year 4, but I wouldn't say 5 to 10 years, especially 10 years. I mean, it's just when you come into somewhere where there's just been mediocrity and there hasn't really been a standard set for 15 years and you're trying to overturn that, that does take time. But I don't think it's going to take 5 to 10 years, because you look at Mario and what he was able to do at Oregon and what he's doing now with the recruiting class and keeping a lot of these kids locked in despite us not being able to meet the expectations we had set for ourselves as a fan base and the media set for us. I have faith. That's all I'm going to say. Well, Slim isn't going to be on the show. He was at the Clemson game, so it's just me for a little bit tonight, guys. So, I don't understand how DJ Ivey can give up so many long TDs. I've never seen one player consistently hurt this defense like he has and remain a starter. Mind-boggling. I mean, he has given a lot of long TVs, and like I said, he gave up the first touchdown of that game. Just not playing the route correctly. But, we have to play who we have right now. And unfortunately, a lot of the guys behind him are just young guys that aren't ready. And, he can make some nice plays every once in a while, but he is just going to give that one head-scratching play up that you're just like, what are you doing, dude? I just don't understand. Go Gators. At least we didn't lose by 40 to 10. Yeah, but you lost to Vandy, so I'd rather lose to a top 10 team like this than lose to Vandy, but whatever. I'm not going to get into this. I've been hearing we have the talent since 2004. The truth is we don't have elite talent. Stop saying that we have talent. We have some guys, but not elite talent. Stop already, folks. I mean, yeah, there's definitely talent on the roster. This isn't elite talent. If you look at the talent we've had top 15 recruiting classes, number 8 ranked recruiting class in 2018. Yeah. So there's definitely talent on this team, but when you specifically go back to those 2018 guys, they had Mark Richt their first year, then 3 years of Manny, and then now they're with Mario. They're on their third head coach. They're on their third OC, second defensive coordinator. So it's just that constant turnover that is not allowing for a stable environment for players, and just the inability to develop talent, and the fact that this team hasn't really had the backing from the university in the past. And this is really the first year that we have that backing. And that's going to show over time. It's not showing immediately now, but it will show. You look at any school like LSU, Alabama, Clemson, who we just played, they all have the entire university behind them, and that's why they've been so successful. Y'all not even having 9 wins next year. I mean, I know you're a Florida State fan, but I'm even going to say it. I think we're going to go around 8-4. So, yeah. We had the players to be better than what we played. Why can't we admit this coaching staff just did a bad job? I mean, I don't think they've done a great job, and a lot of people in the fan base are calling out this coaching staff, so I don't know where that's coming from. Miami is the only team in the ACC that can't give Clemson a game. Yeah, I was actually thinking about that. You see a lot of these other teams coming up to Clemson and just being able to fight against them, but for whatever reason, not just this time, but 2020, 2017, 2015, we just can't compete against them. And I don't know if it's the brand. I guess the best explanation could be like the brand, and they just like beating up on the University of Miami the same way that every team that plays us likes to throw down and break the U. For real, Gav, what did he do at Oregon? Well, 2 Pac-12 titles and win the Rose Bowl, beat Ohio State. I mean, I'd say that's something for your first Power 5 head coaching job. It's been done. It will turn around. Yeah, like I said, I have faith in Mario still. He's a great program builder. He took Oregon from a 4-8 team to to the doorstep of the college football playoff, 2 Pac-12 titles, like I just said. He took over FIU after an 0-12 season or 1-11 and something like that, and he won the Sun Belt with them and won them their first bowl game at FIU, which if you're from the South Florida area, you know how terrible that football program is and how terribly it's run and how impossible it is to basically win there. What is funny is that Clemson fans think they are elite. They don't get that they're I don't know what. I mean, Clemson's a very good football team. They're definitely top 10, top 15 material, but I don't think they're elite this year. But, I mean, they kicked our ass. So, there's nothing we can say to that. Just keep looking. Brother, I'm 60. I can't wait 10 more years. So, we are saying it will take 6, 7 more years to get the right players before becoming a winning team. Definitely not 6 to 7. I mean, no, especially nowadays with the transfer portal and everything we're hearing about all these guys wanting to transfer out, and specifically that this is going to be a big year for the transfer portal, and a lot of guys are going to be looking for a new home. It's just going to be easier to bring in more talent and the guys that Mario wants. And we're already seeing with the guys that he was able to bring in that they're the ones that are showing up. You look at Akeem Mesidor, Colby Young, Daryl Jackson, Wesley Basainth, Jaleel Skinner, Nigel Lee Kelly's playing really well as a true freshman. He's getting a lot of snaps, and when he's on the field, he's playing good. And then a lot of the young guys too, like Cam Kinchins. He's obviously shown up a lot, leading the country in interceptions. He had another great game today, like I said earlier. So I don't think it'll take 6 to 7 years to become a winning team. I think it'll take maybe 5 to 6 years till we see a national championship and get this as a well-oiled machine. But I could definitely see a 10-win New Year's 6 type season around 2025, if that makes sense. Also, Bosworth actually finished the comment. What's funny, Clemson fans think they're elite. They beat up on bad ACC teams and lose when they play elite teams. Poor Clemson fans. They don't get their run ended with Florence. Poor fans. I mean, yeah, they're definitely on a down year this year, but they're still a great football team. If they win the ACC and finish 11-1, they're definitely going to the playoff. I don't think they'll get to a national championship or anything, but they'll definitely get to the playoff. We don't know for sure if it will turn around. I mean, when you look at everything that's going on with the fact that we're getting a lot more funding into the program from the administration, there's a lot more buy-in. What Mario has done in the past, you can never say for sure that it's going to turn around. You can never say for sure that Mario is going to win a national championship because you don't know that. But based off history, you can make a safe assumption that we will definitely at least be a top 15 caliber team in the country within the next 3 to 4 years at the latest. We will purge around 20 to 30 guys, 3 already this week. Yep. At least 20 guys are leaving. And there's no cap on how many players you can bring in. And normally it's just 25 players between transfers and the recruiting class, but we could literally bring in as many players as we want, scholarship players. So do not be surprised if this roster looks completely different by kickoff next year against Miami, Ohio. The truth is, if you don't load up on elite top 200 players and bring up top 5 classes consistently, you will never win. Anything past top 200 players naturally, then you just have guys. I mean, I think a lot what happens is you see where if you have a good coach who's a decent recruiter and he could get the most out of 3 stars, he can have maybe 2 years in a row where he wins, where he goes 9-3 one year. There's a lot of hype, and then maybe he finishes 10-2 and he goes to his conference championship, but then it kind of falls off again because all those guys that were contributors on his last team, they were juniors and seniors. So, which is a lot of times what you see with a team like, let's just say Utah, because Utah doesn't recruit great. Utah usually recruits just around the top 50, but they get the most out of their 3 stars, and every once in a while they have a really great year like they did last year. And This year they're having a good year, I think, too. I think they've only lost like 3 games, but they've been competitive all year and they've been a good team. No, they're 8-2. They're number 10 in the country. They're about to play Oregon. So, yeah. 20 plus years, we still can't find a quarterback. Well, I mean, yeah. We thought it was going to be Tyler this year, but he started off rough, started to turn it around a little bit. Then the injury happened, went out against FSU, got injured again. We'll see what happens last year. We'll see if he comes back. We'll see if he maybe goes to the NFL, transfers out. We just don't know what's going to happen with this program right now. Right now, the focus in that building is going to be beating Pitt, getting to a bowl game, getting those 15 extra practices in, and yeah. A lot has gone on. Bickering, injuries, and lack of depth. These all contributed. Mario's record said he'll turn around. Yeah, I mean, even going into the season, I didn't think we were a particularly deep team, specifically at wide receiver and linebacker, and then a little bit at corner. And we've seen what injuries have really done to this team. Whether it was X going out, we've had suspensions, we've had players with a lack of buy-in, players complaining about playing time, players' moms calling out coaches on social media. Sorry. Look at what Mario did at FIU as a testament. He built that from the ground up. FIU was on the verge of giving up football altogether. I mean, yeah, let me look it up, actually, what Mario did when Mario took over at FIU. Mario took over in 2007. And they had definitely gone 0-12 before that. I'm trying to find it here. Yep, 2006, right before Mario took over, they went 0-12, and he led them to an 8-5 record at FIU, and winning the Sun Belt and a bowl win, which looked impossible at FIU. I'd be happy if we could just be like North Carolina or Washington at this point. I mean, yeah, I'd be really happy if we could be like North Carolina right now, with only 1 loss and in the ACC championship game, with a chance to maybe go to the playoff. I don't think their resume is strong enough. If they had beaten Notre Dame, it definitely would have been, but it's definitely not strong enough right now. Even the best coach struggled their first year. Yeah, Nick Saban went like 7-6. His first year lost to UL Monroe at home. Won a national championship later in 2009 in his 3rd year. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think Mario's anywhere near the same caliber as Coach Saban right now. I still think he's a great head coach, and his track record proves that. It's not just me saying that. But yeah, this takes time. And when you have someone that's an elite recruiter like Mario and he can get the right people in the building, really anything can happen. There's no excuse of losing to MTSU at home. No excuse. Yeah. I mean, I'm not even really going to say anything more. If you want to hear my thoughts on that, go watch the postgame show after that. I went on a pretty nice rant about that. I was in the stadium for that one. He had 1 bad season and the AD fired him. That AD did not last very long after. I think that AD did last, but it's just because, the university just didn't care about football. And, it's hard to recruit anyone, really, to FIU. You guys have a hard schedule next year because divisions are over. You need to be putting up 30-plus a game to compete. Do you think Gaddis' offense is capable? Not with the way the roster is structured right now. No. I think that Gaddis can run a good offense. He showed it last year. But we just don't have the O-line. We don't have the running backs. We don't have the receivers that are willing to block in the run game. So, no, not right now. No. And I know we have a tough schedule next year. We have Clemson at home, A&M at home, We play Louisville, Boston College. Let me see who else. We're at Florida State, at North Carolina, at NC State. So, yeah, it is not a cupcake next year. If I had to look at this schedule right now, I'd say we go 8-4 at best. 8-4 at best with that schedule. Yeah. So I had dropped it earlier, but if anyone wants to get on and talk some Canes football rather than just typing in the chat, because my boys were off at the Clemson game, so I don't think they're going to be getting on unless they want to join through their phones. But there's the link right there. College football not fun no more. Kind of depressing. I mean, yeah, man. I had to watch that whole game because I had to come up on here and talk about it. Normally, I would have just turned it off and gone about my day and not had to worry about this shit, but, you know. All of our receivers need to go. I mean, not all of them. We can keep Colby Young. Jacoby George can make some plays. I like Brashard Smith. X should definitely come back for another year. But guys like Keyshawn, where, hey, man, the coach is telling you you're trash and you have to go complain to your mom about it, and then she's out tweeting, and there's just a lack of effort and seems to be no growth from you. I mean, get with it or get out, bro. It's mainly just guys like that. What are we thinking for next week for Pitt, W? I mean, it's at home under the lights, so maybe some fans will actually show up for that one. Get a nice home environment going. But I don't know. Pitt's a very injured team. We're also very injured and just not executing at a high level. They always have a really good defensive line. They have a really good running game. I don't know if Abanikanda is injured right now. I actually need to check that. But if he is, he's going to be a problem for us as we have not been able to stop any sort of running game this year. Even against Bethune-Cookman, their quarterbacks are running all over us. FSU mainly whooped us 45-3 because we couldn't stop the run. Jordan Travis didn't even need to do anything. So, yeah, right now, have it as a loss. I don't think we're going bowling this year. I think FSU has passed the mantle on to us of being the losing team in Florida this year. You know, they're about to go 9-3, beat Florida. Yeah, Florida next year. Not next year, next week. So congrats to them. I really didn't think they would go anywhere near 9-3, but they're going to do it. So, as a lifelong Canes and Raiders fan, what have I done to deserve such misery? Hey, man, every fan base goes through this. Every fan base goes through these periods in their life where it just seems like it isn't going to get better. I mean, you look at Bama. They were an elite team in the 60s and 70s, won a national championship in 92. They had about 15 years of just mediocrity and not playing well. And then now look at where they're at. Georgia the same. Clemson, they won a national championship in 1980. They were just a pretty good college football to mediocre college football program. And then now they have 2 national championships. They're in the playoff all the time. They've won 6 of the last 7 ACC championships. I mean, every fan base goes through this. Every fan base has their rough patches and their high times. It's not rocket science. You need dudes. Go read Nick Saban's book. When you have the best players, you can pretty much call anything you want. We need DUDES dudes. Yeah. This team is awful. One of the worst in all of D1 ball. They're getting worse every week despite having quite a few good skill players. The game was over at half. More excuses coming from Mario. I mean, I think we maybe have like 1 or 2 good receivers right now that are playing really good. We have a lot of guys with potential. Cornerback, it's really just Tyreek Stevenson, Cam Kitchens at safety. James Williams continues to disappoint. It's very clear that he was a 5-star based off of just physical ability. He's always out of position, unable to tackle. So, yeah. All good programs go through cycles, even Bama. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you look at, just to turn to another sport, Boston Celtics. Dynasty in the 60s and 70s, dynasty in the 80s, and then 90s they don't do anything. For a good part of the 2000s they don't do anything. 2008 they win a championship. Things like this happen where teams that were once dominant, teams that were once very good, they go through those rough patches because nothing ever lasts. As good as something is, as perfect as something seems, it never lasts. It's never going to be replicated the way it was before. And people are going to adapt to what you're doing and find ways to counter that. You can look at sports. You can look at history with any great civilization through the age. Stuff like just happens. All this stuff goes through cycles where it's the rise. There's a prosperous era, and then there's the downfall. From 8-4 to 7-5 in a bowl last year to 5 wins with better players in a weaker conference and getting blown out every week. How do coaches make you this bad so fast? Depressing. Again, it's not just on coaching. It's on players' lack of buy-in, players' lack of execution, because, a lot of people are saying, man, why do we keep running the ball on 3rd and short? Well, that's what you're supposed to do in 3rd and short. You're supposed to be able to run the ball. And, Josh Gaddis can't go out there and block with the offensive lineman. But again, like I said earlier, there's times where Josh Gaddis' offense is way too slow and way too methodical. I mean, we burned 2 timeouts in the second half just because we let the play clock run down, and we also got a delay of game penalty. So Miami should just try to run the triple option or the old Notre Dame wishbone offense. Maybe some fumblerooskies. I think it's their only shot. I mean, yeah, it might be so simple and so stupid that they don't see it coming. Workforce, no program in the country has ever been in a down cycle as long as Miami have. I mean, it's been 17 years. Georgia was down for a little bit, I think. And then you have Bama after they won their national championship in the 90s up until 2008. It's not rare to see a once prominent program for about maybe 10, 15 years or so just kind of drop into mediocrity. Because we really haven't, I know by Miami standards, we're a terrible program now compared to what we were in the past, but we're just mediocre. I mean, this year we're bad, but overall as a program, we've just been mediocre, hovering around 7 wins, maybe win 9 wins one year. But yeah, we've spiraled into mediocrity, and that's not where you want to be. But like we say every offseason, it can only get better from here. I think I'm maybe only going to go for 10 more minutes or so. So if you have any more questions in the chat, keep them coming. I try to look a little bit ahead to that Pitt game. I wonder if they played today. Yeah, they beat Duke, which puts Pitt at 7-4 now. So Pitt has a chance to finish 8-4 against us next year, and we have a chance at maybe a bowl game. But I know we're all really down because we expected 10-win season, 9-win season. Hell, some people were even saying we could get to the playoffs. I saw one guy who's not even a Canes fan on YouTube predict us to go to the playoffs, finish 11-1, win the ACC, and lose to Bama in the semifinal. But I think maybe we should stop listening to all that outside noise and listen really what Mario was saying, where even in spring training, fall camp, before the season, he was very much emphasizing that this is a rebuild. He is coming in and taking everything that, not just Manny Diaz, not just Mark Richt, but everything that Randy Shannon, Al Golden, Donna Shalala, Blake James built up, and he's going to tear it all down and build it from the ground up. This isn't where we're coming into a house and remodeling it. This is we're taking out the foundation. We're tearing down the walls. We're tearing down the rafters, all that stuff. And this is a complete and total rebuild from the ground up. We're starting on straight dirt right now. So honestly, if this is the price to pay, going 5-7 this year, 6-6, and 2025, 2026, we're in the playoff or even the national championship, I'll take that, man. I'll take that. I'm very much okay with finishing, let's say, 6-7 this year, lose the bowl game, come back next year, finish 8-4, win our bowl game, a little bit higher tier bowl game. In 2024, we come out, finish 9-3. Just that slow build. As long as I see progress every year, as long as I don't see, which is what was the issue with Manny Diaz, where there wasn't just not any improvement. It just seemed to get worse. The tackling got worse. The defense got worse. It was just the same persistent issues, the inability to show up to a football game. And yeah, he was only a head coach for 3 seasons, but Jesus Christ, man, you were there for 6 years in total when you were a defensive coordinator. So as long as I don't see that, as long as I see that we're able to keep improving, then I'm okay. I can have the patience for Mario. I have no problem with that. I have no problem waiting right now. I've been waiting since I was 10 years old. I really have an issue with Gaddis play calling. Yep, at times. There's sometimes he dials stuff up and there's a lack of execution, but there's sometimes where there's some plays he runs and you're just like, God damn it, man, what are you thinking? Mario knew we didn't have great players, nor did we have depth at any position. Recruiting and portal is when it's going to get this program back. Yep. That's exactly what I said. I mean, especially now that we don't have that cap that we can only bring in 25 players between the portal and recruiting class. We can bring in as many guys as we want, as long as we don't cross over that 85 scholarship guy boundary. Bama was pretty bad until Saban got there. Yeah, I mean, Saban got there in 2007. 2006, Alabama went. I don't even think they might have made a bowl game. They went 6-7, so they made a bowl game. They just lost it. They made the Independence Bowl. And then Saban went 7-6, and then he took them to the Sugar Bowl against Utah in his second year. I mean, these quick turnarounds can happen, especially when you have a good head coach who's a great evaluator of talent. Because Mario is that. Mario is really good at evaluating talent. Not sure what everyone claiming no dudes. Got great players all over the field. Had an experienced QB before your O-line got killed. I mean, that's kind of the stuff we're talking about, where it was the lack of players on the O-line, the lack of talent at receiver, and the lack of guys stepping up until Colby Young came along and X went out injured. Really just James Williams disappointing at safety. And Cam Kinchins started off the year a little bit slow. He wasn't great in that Middle Tennessee game at all, but now he's one of the best players on our team. So there's definitely talent at certain spots, but it's not enough to justify thinking that we're going to be this great football team. Tennessee was bad since Peyton until now. Yeah, Tennessee's another one. A team with SEC money. And they've been bad since around 98. It happens. My camera's kind of blurry, but Mario and the staff thought we had a better team than what we have. Before he came in, probably, yeah. I mean, we've definitely all heard the reports. If this is the first time you're hearing it, then, well, I'll say it now. Mario came in and he was like, this is a lot worse than I thought it was. This is not as good as I thought it was at all. This is going to take a lot more work, and that's why he's tearing everything down to the ground and trying to rebuild it completely. The only guarantee with Kane's ball is Mario's excuses and telling his roster that he needs better dudes. Well, he does need better dudes. So Mario was on that Bama rebuild with Saban, so he knows what he needs to do to rebuild. Yeah. I mean, he was assistant head coach and director of recruiting. He was the number 1 recruiter in the country, and he brought in a lot of guys from South Florida. Wesley and Cam coming back next season. They will guide their defense to victory. We need a good OC. I think we need. If you were to tell me that it was year 5 and Mario had all the players he wanted to run that power spread and we brought Josh Gaddis in, this team would look a lot better. But we definitely need an OC to come in right now that fits the players we have now. So, yes, I definitely agree with that. Because I don't think Josh Gaddis is a bad OC. I think he's just trying to run the wrong system for the players we have, if that makes sense. Mario was essentially Saban's number 2. Yeah, I mean, assistant head coach at Alabama, director of recruiting. I don't think there's any more that Nick Saban can really trust you. Mario was demoted from coordinator to position coach at Bama. I think he was always just a line coach at Bama. I know he was assistant offensive coordinator at Oregon and assistant head coach at Oregon before he took over. And then Willie Taggart left to Florida State. And then he took over as head coach, which, again, we saw what he did there. We saw what he did. He was there that first year with Willie Taggart after they went 4-8. They went around 7-6, I believe. And then he goes in as head coach. They go 9-4. Then they went 12-2 and won the Rose Bowl 2019. Assistant head coach is meaningless. I don't think it's meaningless. You're basically working directly with the head coach. That's what assistant head coach means. You're just not a coordinator. He was also definitely a lines coach and working with that, but I think he had a much closer relationship on that coaching staff with Nick Saban than anyone else. All right. We've been going on for about 42 minutes now. Said pretty much everything I needed to say. Thank you to everyone who joined on. Thank you, MDB, for the donation earlier. I appreciate all the comments. Things going back and forth. I know we're all frustrated. I know it looks really rough right now, and it's kind of hard to be a Canes fan. And it has been hard to be a Canes fan, but you know what? Like Joshua said, this is going to get better. So yeah, I hope everyone has a great night. Don't let the outcome of today ruin your night. Don't let at the end of the day, it's just a sport, guys. I know we love it with a passion. I know we put our heart and soul into this, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't mean anything. So yeah, don't let this get you too down. Don't let it ruin your weekend or get pissed at your family just because the Canes got blown out by Clemson. Just enjoy life and know that we might be down right now, but just like any other team that has their down moments, we're going to be up soon. So, as always, go Canes.